Good morning, everyone. Hello, and welcome to our 2020 Taiwan on for Safety virtual luncheon with MAD Colorado. In just a few minutes, our MC, Deborah Takahara of CW Channel 2 and Fox 31 in Denver, she's going to be taking over as our MC for the virtual luncheon this morning. We're so thankful for her for joining us and for leading this morning's event, this afternoon's event, this lunchtime event. We're very excited for Deborah joining us. She actually did a tremendous story this week with Brittany Lamb, who's another person you'll be hearing from this morning. Brittany is a MAD volunteer, a victim survivor, and a speaker who shares her story to get the word out, to encourage people to plan ahead, to make sure that everybody gets home safely. And that's really what Taiwan On for Safety is about. We know that the holidays from Thanksgiving through New Year's are some of the deadliest times on our roads, which is just tragic. These should be happy times that we can enjoy being around each other, being with our friends and family, and instead, so many times they turn out to be tragic. So we want to be out there. We want to let everyone know that they can do their part by planning ahead, taking the simple step of having a designated driver, someone who's not drinking or consuming cannabis, somebody who can get you home safe, using a rideshare like Lyft or Uber, taking the bus, taking the taxi, finding a way to get home safe before you go out. Make sure you have a plan before you go out. That's the key to Taiwan on First Safety, and that is the key to saving lives on our roads. After all, we could end drunken drug driving tomorrow if everyone made the choice to plan ahead to make sure that all of us can get home safe and that we can keep the holidays joyous. So for today, as I said, we have Deborah Takahara, who is our MC for our virtual luncheon. We are doing things a little differently this year. As you might have guessed, with 2020, everything's a little bit different. In the past, we've had the Taiwan on for Safety breakfast, where we've gotten together early in the morning to have breakfast, to hear from speakers, to give away our community honors before we started our day by going to work. This year, we felt that it would be best to do the virtual luncheon as a luncheon, so that, if you're in the middle of your workday, you can take a break, join us, have some lunch, hear about some really tremendous community heroes that are making a difference for victims and survivors and saving lives on our roads here in Colorado. You'll also be able to hear Brittany share her story, and we are doing some fundraising. So the funds we raised today will save lives and support victims and survivors right here in Colorado, and we are so thankful for your support, for your gift, for your generosity, because that's how MAD's mission happens. That's how we save lives and support victims and survivors right here in Colorado. And so we are so grateful for you for joining us. Thank you for being here today, and thank you so much for all that you do to make our roads and communities safer. In just a moment, I'm going to be turning this over to Deborah Takahara. There might be just a little gap between us. You may need to refresh your page if you're watching this on your browser at home or in your office. If you're watching it on a computer, you may need to refresh your browser. So should be going in just a moment. And we're very excited again for Deborah to join us. Very excited to join these tremendous community honors with you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all that you do to save lives and to make Colorado communities and roads safer. And I will, again, be turning this over to Deborah. I'll be back a little bit later in the program, and then I'll be back at the end to wrap things up. So I look forward to talking with you again soon. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you in just a little bit.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Deborah Takahara. You might recognize me as a reporter and anchor with Colorado's own Channel 2 News, as well as Fox 31 here in the Denver metro area. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this virtual gathering on behalf of Mothers Against Drunk Driving for the 4th annual Taiwan On for Safety event. Normally, this would be a breakfast event, but since we're gathering virtually today, we thought it would be great to let everyone sleep in, so we hope you enjoyed that. Taiwan On for Safety is Mothers Against Drunk Driving's annual campaign that asks the public to display a red ribbon to remind others to plan ahead to get home safely during the holidays. MAD reminds everyone the best gift this holiday season to give your loved ones is peace of mind by designating a non-drinking driver, if your plans include alcohol, Call an Uber or Lyft, use public transportation, or choose a non-drinking, unimpaired friend or family member to ensure everyone gets home safe. Today, we'll share the important message of planning ahead while raising funds to support MADD's victim services programs. We'll also present our Community Champion Awards to honor heroes in our community who have provided exceptional service to victims and survivors of drunk and drugged driving crashes. Additionally, our program will include a special address by MADD volunteer Brittany Lamb from Northern Colorado, whose injury and loss from a drunk driving crash has given her firsthand knowledge of MADD's victim support services and has inspired her support of MADD Colorado. It is my great pleasure to be with you here this morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of today's ceremony. Over the years, I have interviewed many family members who have lost loved ones to drunk drivers, and it is absolutely heartbreaking to hear their stories, especially knowing this is something completely preventable. I worry not only for my own children's safety, but if I'm teaching them responsibility and making good choices. I want to acknowledge many people who made today possible. First, today's sponsors. Our presenting sponsor, the law firm of Backus and Schenker, MADD Colorado's statewide sponsor, Walmart Neighborhood Market, and Credit Union of Colorado. I also want to thank MADD volunteer Clara Shelton, MADD volunteer Brittany Lamb, who you will hear from in just a little bit, and today's awards presenters. In conjunction with today's event is an online auction featuring some great one-of-a-kind items perfect for the upcoming holiday season. I believe the link to the auction was sent out to everyone about a week ago and also shared on MADD Colorado's Facebook page. We hope you've had a chance to visit the auction page, and if you haven't gotten your bids in just yet for those items, you still have time. The auction will remain open through 5 o'clock this afternoon. At this time, Fran Lanzer, State Executive Director of MADD Colorado, has a few words for all of us.
Thank you, Deborah. We're grateful that you could be our MC today, and thank you so much for all that you do as a reporter to increase awareness of the dangers of drunk and drug driving. On behalf of MADD Colorado, I want to say thank you to everyone who is watching today. And for those of you who have been personally impacted by drunk or drug driving, we are honored to be a part of your journey. If you could, please let us know the name of your loved one or your name if you were injured by typing it in the comments now. We are just honored that you could be with us virtually today. Thank you. Next, I have the privilege of presenting our first award of the day, our Victim Services Achievement Award. The Victim Services Achievement Award is presented for outstanding dedication and commitment to serving victims and survivors of drunk and drug driving. Our 2020 Victim Services Achievement Award is presented to the law firm of Backus and Schenker. Since 2007, the law firm of Backus and Schenker has been a crucial partner in serving victims and survivors right here in Colorado. And through their statewide sponsorship and through the funds they raise through Walk Like MADD, they have contributed 15,000 hours of support services for victims and survivors right here in Colorado. That's right, 15,000. Their commitment is just incredible. We know that their passion is justice, and we know that they are dedicated to serving victims and survivors, and we are so grateful. I am very pleased to be joined by MADD National President Helen Whitty, who's going to help me present this award. Helen?
Hi, everybody, and what an honor and pleasure it is to be here today, and thank Backus and Schenker for their 14-year dedication to stopping this crime. And the Victim Services Achievement Award is the closest to my heart because as a victim, I received those services. And so in your work as attorneys, you can give those services as well. So we know that our goal is to have our victims incorporate their loss and their sadness into their life and become their life so that they can live on and just live a life of joy as a recovered person. So we can't thank you enough. We are so grateful, especially during these difficult times, to have your wholehearted support for Colorado. So thank you so much.
Well, Helen, thank you. Thank you so much for those kind words, Helen. And Fran specifically, thank you. What an honor and privilege it's been to work with MADD over the last 14 years. And we are humbled by the opportunity to do that. We're humbled by that opportunity because we see the results of drunk driving and the catastrophic damage it causes in our community with the work that we do, with the clients that we represent who've lost loved ones or been injured themselves by this senseless crime. And every minute that we've spent supporting MAD has been worth it. All of the time that we've spent supporting MAD has been worth it. And we know that because MAD's such an incredible organization that tangibly saves lives. And so it's an honor to have been able to spend the last 14 years Backus and Schenker's a statewide sponsor, and hopefully we can do another 14. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darren. Thank you for those kind words, and thank you for your passion for saving lives and supporting victims and survivors in Colorado. Helen, thank you so much for joining us today to help me present this award, and congratulations again to the winner of our 2020 Victim Services Achievement Award, our Mad Colorado statewide sponsor, the law firm of Backus and Schenker. Back to you, Deborah.
Thank you again to our friends at Backus and Schenker for their dedication to victims and survivors. This morning, I want to introduce you to someone very special. Brittany Lamb is a MAD volunteer, supporter, and advocate of MAD Colorado. Brittany unfortunately knows firsthand the services that MAD Colorado provides to victims and survivors of impaired driving crashes. Here's Brittany's story.
My Aunt Julie was just such a spirit. I mean, she was always so happy and so willing to take me and my brothers out and just do fun stuff. She took us to Rockies games. She took us to Avalanche games. It was her absolute favorite thing to take us to Avalanche games. I always felt like I couldn't tell my mom things, but I talk with my aunt about boys, or I would talk about who I had a crush on, and I was closer to her than I was to really any of my relatives. So it was December 14th, and I was in a production of The Nutcracker at my dance studio, and my aunt surprised me with tickets to go see the production in Denver at the Performing Arts Center. And so we went to the show, and on our way home, we were coming down the road, and a driver who had been drinking crossed the median where they were doing construction and hit my aunt's car head on. This is just something that I found in a newspaper that kind of explained everything that happened. The driver was coming up Santa Fe and crossed the median, hit my aunt's car head on, and then spun around. I just remember the blood on my face and my tears just mixing with that blood and just the warm feeling. This is a picture of the front of the car that I was in, and they had to use the jaws of life to get me out of the car. The plan was to put me into the flight for life because my injuries were the most severe out of everyone involved. I learned that my aunt had died on impact, so she wasn't going to be put in the flight for life, but they couldn't open my door, so they put the driver who caused the crash into the flight for life. Upon liftoff, something happened and it got caught in the power lines, and it crashed and everybody on board died. This is a picture I got out of the newspaper, and it shows the helicopter laying on its side after it had crashed. So the injuries that I had, my forehead bone was completely exposed. I had a broken nose. My cheekbones were broken. I had a broken collarbone. I broke a lot of my fingers. My foot was broken and my toes were broken. And now those were the physical injuries that I had. I feel that losing my aunt really left a void in my life. It took me a long time to not expect her to be on the other end of the phone when she called. For a very long time, I believed that this crash was my fault. I believed that because I wanted to go to the Nutcracker, because I had decided to dance and do the Nutcracker, I just really believed that this whole crash was my fault. One slight decision that you might make can impact somebody's life in more ways than you can even imagine. You know, this driver that caused the crash, he didn't think that having those extra beers or having those extra drinks would impact one girl's life for the rest of her life. This crash changed the entire outcome of my life. You know, these days there's Uber, there's Lyft, there are so many choices that are all over the city. I mean, you can call a friend. I mean, there's just so many options, and I don't understand why people can't plan ahead or just decide not to. It's really not a smart choice to not plan ahead. Therapy helped me in so many ways, just to process what happened and really process my thoughts and feelings after the crash happened. It was life-changing, absolutely the best decision that I've made. And I just really, really encourage you that if you're having issues with drugs, with alcohol, with addictions, to seek help and to get that therapy that you need. It's hard. My problem was that I didn't think anyone could help me, that I had to help myself, had to help myself get over these thoughts and these feelings about what happened in the crash. But once I gave in and once I went to therapy, it was the best decision that I'd ever made in my life. I came to MAD in 2018 after seeking therapy to process the trauma that the crash had caused. I felt that sharing my story at victim impact panels would help me through the healing process. By telling my story, I hope to help those who have been in a similar situation and to help them realize that they are not alone. It was scary at first to make myself so vulnerable and to speak about what happened, especially at the victim impact panels. But once I got over that initial fear, I realized that if my story could help just one person to not drink and drive again, then it would all be worth it. There's a team of passionate individuals who are dedicated to those hurt or killed by a drunk driver, as well as their families. The wonderful people at MAD Colorado have been there for me from the very beginning. I always feel supported and heard when I talk with MAD and participate in any event. MAD has helped me realize that I don't have to be alone in my healing journey. MAD has been a constant support for me, and I know that I can reach out to anyone at any time for any reason. I also feel that I'm now part of an exclusive group, one that no one wants to be in. MAD has connected me with other survivors and their families, and being able to talk so openly about our experiences has been life-changing. The support system that MAD provides has far-reaching effects. I support MAD because of the amazing people who work tirelessly to help others like me. I support MAD because I don't want any person to go through what I've been through in my life. One person's decision to drink and drive changed the course of my life forever. MAD works tirelessly to pass legislation on drunk and drugged driving. MAD works tirelessly to be there for the victims and their families. And they offer an unparalleled amount of support. It's important to remember that donations are what make a nonprofit like MAD Colorado able to provide the wonderful services that they do. I know many of you have already made a donation to MAD through your virtual table captains, and we thank you so much. If you haven't yet, I ask you to please do so now. Your gift will provide crucial support to victims of drunk and drugged driving crashes. Will you please donate to ensure these crucial services continue to be available to victims in need? No matter the amount, every contribution will make a difference. Thank you so much for your generosity, and thank you for allowing me to share my story with you today.
Thank you, Brittany. And we hope that hearing Brittany's story today has provided just a bit more insight into MAD Colorado's commitment to serving victims of drunk and drug driving crashes. I want to direct your attention to this website right now, www.mad.org/Colorado. There you'll see a red donate button, and I want to ask you, if you haven't made a donation to MAD yet today, will you please do so now? And while you visit the donation site, let me share some numbers with you. A gift of $37 is the cost of 1 hour of victim support services. Or consider $51 will provide a support group session for victims and survivors. $100 will provide a victim's roadside memorial sign to remember a loved one. And $259 will provide victim support in a court case. And like Brittany said, no matter the amount, every contribution does make a difference, and we appreciate your generosity. MAD could not support victims like Brittany or operate victim service programs across the state without supporters and donors like you. I want to acknowledge our virtual table captains this morning. Normally, a table captain would take on the responsibility of filling a table of 10 and asking each of his or her attendees to help reach a fundraising goal of $1,000. With our virtual platform, our captains were not limited to just 10 seats, so I want to thank each of them for their fundraising and recruitment efforts today. Major Steve Garcia with the Colorado State Patrol, retired Colonel Mark Trostel from the Colorado State Patrol, Joe and Gretchen Lapham from the Lapham Law Firm, Fran Lanzer, MAD Colorado, Roosevelt Rogers from Laser Technologies Incorporated, and Suzanne McClung, a MAD supporter. Thank you all for your help and your donations today. I want to talk about service for a moment. Providing service to someone is the action of helping or doing work for someone. Today, you have joined us to support the service that MAD Colorado provides for our community. We also want to recognize the service that heroes provide in our community. Earlier this year, MAD asked the folks they work with regularly, community partner agencies, law enforcement, victims, and survivors, to think of ways that people or organizations have provided service to them and nominate those people for recognition this morning. Several worthy nominations were received, and from them, 3 were selected for exceptional service displayed during a time of need, and we are honored to recognize them here this morning. And to announce our first recognition, here is Corporal Nicholas Hazlett from the Colorado State Patrol.
Hello, I'm Corporal Nicholas Hazlett of the Colorado State Patrol and the chair of the Pike Peak Regional DUI Task Force. It is my pleasure today to recognize Miley Gray and Karen Teal for their amazing work in helping to save lives on our roads through Drive Smart Colorado and their partnership with MAD Colorado. Based out of Colorado Springs, Drive Smart Colorado has led the charge for educational programs focusing on substance-free driving, child passenger safety, seatbelt use, pedestrian safety, older driver safety, and the safety of our military personnel, with regular presentations to units at Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base, Griever Air Force Base, and the Air Force Academy. Miley and Karen work with diverse groups to support traffic safety education to youth and young adults, young families with babies and small children, and the growing demographic of older drivers and their families. Miley and Karen have created a special focus on teen drivers through the High School Traffic Safety Challenge. Their engagement brings MAD's mission to end drunk driving, help fight drug driving, support the victims of these violent crimes, and prevent underage drinking in nearly 30 high schools every fall, furthering empowering teens to make healthy and positive choices for themselves and in the community. Drive Smart Colorado's reach extends beyond El Paso County into all corners of the state, with partnerships in many counties across Colorado implementing traffic safety programming. Miley Gray is the heart and soul of Drive Smart Colorado and has deeply impacted Southern Colorado communities for over 24 years with her outreach, education, and engagement. Miley has committed herself to gathering data and engaging community support of a primary seatbelt law in Colorado. She has created opportunities to provide safety education on a legislative level and is a dedicated and persistent advocate for traffic safety. Karen Teal is an incredible advocate for MAD and is focused on preventing impaired driving crashes and supporting victims. Karen's dedication to MAD is evident through her volunteer participation in MAD's Colorado Springs Walk Like MAD event every year, her constant support of law enforcement and MAD's Law Enforcement Appreciation event, and most significantly, her facilitation of MAD's victim impact panels at which DUI offenders have the opportunity to experience the impact that impaired driving has on families, take away a new understanding of the seriousness of the crime. Karen's commitment to providing this experience is a positive and educational life. It's second to none. For their outstanding and unyielding dedication to saving lives in Colorado and supporting the mission of MAD Colorado, I am happy to recognize Miley and Karen with this award.
So I just want to say thank you very much to MAD. This is my retirement. Drive Smart Colorado is going in a sleep mode right now. And I want to just say that I have worked with Mothers Against Drunk Driving and it's actually almost 27 years that I've been working for Drive Smart. And I don't remember a day without Mothers Against Drunk Driving being partners with us. And I just appreciate all of their efforts, and we try to keep fighting the good fight out there because it just is never ending. And I can only imagine how many more tragedies would have occurred on the roads without partners like Mothers Against Drunk Driving just tirelessly fighting to keep all of our roads safe. So we never know the impact of prevention because we don't know how many people we actually save down the line, but I will guarantee you that Mothers Against Drunk Driving and maybe a little bit of Drive Smart Colorado has, in our combined efforts, have saved many, many hundreds, if not thousands of lives over the years. Thank you so much. It really is a great honor.
So Miley, thank you for being such an inspiration. Thank you for always being that person who steps up and opens doors for everyone else and makes things possible. When I first met you, I was working only for MAD, and I was not working for Drive Smart at the time. And you made all the difference. And we won awards for the work that we did because of the roads that you paved for us and made options for us. So it was great. So thank you very much. And Matt, thank you for acknowledging us. This is a huge honor. Thank you.
It is.
Thank you, Corporal Hazlett. And next, Deputy District Attorney Kelly Easton from the 1st Judicial District with our next presentation.
Hello, I'm Kelly Easton, Deputy District Attorney in the 1st Judicial District for Jefferson and Gilpin counties. It is my pleasure to recognize Detective Jim Moffitt today for his vision and tenacity with respect to the investigation and prosecution of a Jefferson County case. An all too familiar case that featured the needless and violent loss of life at the hands of a profoundly selfish and thoughtless repeat DUI offender. From the outset, Detective Moffitt and his team approached this case like it was their only case. And so they devoted themselves to an investigation that allowed the DA's office to prosecute the case at a level that was consistent with the aggravated nature of the offender's actions. Over the ensuing months, Detective Moffitt and his team demonstrated a consistent willingness in both word and deed to work the case and support the prosecution team through conviction. Such dedication and perseverance was critical to the historic outcome of this case. It was the first murder in the first degree conviction for a DUI-related death in the state of Colorado. More than their work with the evidence, it was inspiring to watch Detective Moffitt and his team cultivate and nurture a genuine connection with the victim's family. It was an affection and respect that was clearly mutual. And If there was a court date, no matter for what, Jim and his team were always there. They were always there with a kind word and a warm smile for a family who experienced profound loss. More than all of this, Detective Moffitt and his team also made sure that they supported me and my team. This was such a difficult prosecution, and yet every time I felt tired or overwhelmed by the tasks ahead, I would look beside me and see a team full of strong, good men committed to our mission. I have never been so proud to work in law enforcement than when I stood beside Detective Moffitt and his team and to represent their work in court. The commitment of this team and their department to public service is incredibly inspiring, and I will always be grateful for Detective Moffitt and his leadership throughout the case. And I am honored to be able to recognize him today on behalf of MAD and the victim in this case. Thank you, Detective Moffitt.
Thank you. This is truly an honor to accept this award. And I am just part of this team. This was involved the whole traffic team and patrol, and the Arvada Police Department helped us out. This was a huge investigation. And Kelly, and your team, it was impressive to watch in court, the way you presented this case. And we learn every time we present these cases, and this truly was affected by a lot of victims, and it was a tough one to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. And finally, here is MAD Colorado's Manager of Victim Services, Jocelyn Reimer, with this morning's final honor.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Reimer, Manager of Victim Services for MAD Colorado. Sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same. This is a quote that reminds me of Suzanne McClung, a woman I've had the honor of working with following an impaired crash that injured her in 2018. Suzanne was on her way to pick up her husband from the meeting on a Wednesday evening when an impaired driver heading the wrong way on I-70 near Mount Vernon Canyon hit Suzanne's car head-on. The scene became a fiery landscape, but thankfully several passersby stopped to pull Suzanne from her vehicle. The driver who caused the crash was originally sentenced to serve time in the Department of Corrections, but quickly became eligible for community corrections after serving only a portion of her sentence. A hearing was held without Suzanne being notified or without her having the opportunity to speak, which was a direct violation of her rights as a victim of crime. Suzanne immediately took action, filing complaints with the Arapahoe County Community Corrections Board and the Colorado State Division of Criminal Justice Victim Rights Act Subcommittee. While the hearing was re-held and Suzanne was able to attend and share her experience as a victim of the crime, additional incidents took place at the hearing that had a major impact on Suzanne and should never have been allowed to happen. Suzanne continued to pursue her complaint. She prepared such a well thought out and impactful complaint articulating the effects of having her victims' rights violated that swift and permanent changes were made, not only within the Arapahoe County Community Corrections Board, but also the Department of Corrections. Because of Suzanne's fortitude, changes were made within both organizations that will forever make the process easier for future victims. Training mandates were put into place for current and future DOC employees, and policies were changed to reflect a more victim-sensitive and victim-centered approach to community corrections hearings. The ripples of change are far-reaching. We may never know the full effect of her intervention, but we do know that future victims will be treated more fairly and justly thanks to Suzanne's determination and ability to effect change. I am so glad to have been by her side to witness her diligence and the change that she was able to bring on for so many others, and I'm honored to be able to recognize her this morning. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. I'm humbled and honored to be recognized today. You and everyone at MAD support and fight for the victims of impaired driving every single day. And when victims have to interact with the criminal justice system, the experience is often re-traumatizing. And you're working on your own healing and trying to move on, and every hearing or movement of the offender brings back all the feelings associated with the trauma of the crime. And it never really goes away. And every time a hearing or notification comes, you feel like you're being pulled back to the day when your life changed forever. And I filed the Victims' Rights Act complaint that Jocelyn talked about after the community corrections hearing because I was so traumatized by all the things that happened there. And so much of it could have been easily avoided. It was really part of my own healing to push for the needed change. And I'm really glad that it ended up helping make some important changes that will make all victims feel more safe and like their voices matter. I can't say enough about how MAD has supported me through everything that I have gone through in the last 2.5 years. The victim support team was at my side at every hearing and listened whenever I needed them. I'm incredibly grateful for the work of Lorraine LaRock and Jocelyn Reimer. Jocelyn read all of my communications regarding the community corrections hearing and listened to my thinking all the way through the Victims' Rights Act complaint process. I wouldn't be where I am today, nor would have I had the strength to fight without all of the support that MAD has given me. And I've also been really lucky to have a phenomenal peer mentor through MAD, Kim Butcher. She was severely injured in a crash with an impaired driver that also killed her friend. And Kim has overcome significant physical injuries and is so physically strong now. And she has really inspired me to work out and get stronger. And she's been there to listen when I'm struggling with things that only another crash survivor can understand. It's been so helpful to have Kim in my life, and I never would have met her without MAD. Thank you, MAD, for this recognition today. But most of all, thank you for all you've done for me and for all you do for all impaired driving victims.
Thank you, Jocelyn, and congratulations to all of our community heroes. Thank you so much for going above and beyond in service to victims. I want to thank you for joining us here this morning for the 4th annual Taiwan On for Safety event. It has been a pleasure being with you here today, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of this special event. To close us out, here is Fran Lanzer once again.
Hello again, everybody. It's taking me just a moment to get everything set up again. I apologize for that. We have a little bit of technical work we have to do when we switch back and forth between speakers, so I appreciate your patience. I want to say thank you again so much to all of you for joining us for our Taiwan On for Safety virtual luncheon today. Thank you so very much to our MC, Deborah Takahara, CW Channel 2, and Fox 31 Denver. We're so grateful for her to be here. Thank you as well to Brittany for sharing your story. Brittany Lamb, thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for all you do throughout the year to save lives on our roads. Again, this week, actually, Deborah did a story featuring Brittany's story on Fox 31. We posted it on our Facebook page. We hope that you can check that out and just see some of the impact that Deborah and Brittany are having in raising awareness in our community. We're so grateful for them. I do want to say thank you again to our award winners. Congratulations so much. Thank you for all that you are doing to support victims and to save lives on our roads. Congratulations to Miley Gray and Karen Teal of Drive Smart, Colorado Springs. And happy birthday to Miley Gray. Today, December 1st, is her birthday, so happy birthday, Miley. We're so glad that you could join us. Congratulations to Detective Jim Moffitt, the Lakewood Police Department. Thank you for your work to get justice on behalf of victims. Suzanne McClung, impaired driving crash victim and MAD supporter. Suzanne, we are so honored to work with you to save lives and to support victims and survivors. Thank you for your dedication to ensuring victim rights here in Colorado. And thank you as well to the law firm of Backus and Schenker, our MAD Colorado statewide sponsor, our Victim Services Achievement Award recipient today. Their contributions since 2007 have helped provide 15,000 hours of support services for victims and survivors. Thank you so much. Before we move into our fundraising totals, I do want to tell you a little bit about our Taiwan On for Safety law enforcement campaign. The weekend before Thanksgiving, we actually had law enforcement officers, agencies, and troop offices from Colorado State Patrol all across the state getting out, doing DUI enforcement on behalf of victims and survivors. So to honor victims and survivors, law enforcement officers put a MAD red ribbon magnet on their car and went out to patrol to work to keep our roads safe in honor of victims and survivors. And we had 43 law enforcement agencies and troop offices across the state participating. And those 43 agencies and troop offices made 79 DUI arrests ahead of Thanksgiving. And we wanted to do the campaign ahead of Thanksgiving because we knew a lot of people would be potentially traveling, be on the roads, possibly making the bad choice to drive impaired. So we wanted to raise awareness ahead of Thanksgiving to try and save lives on our roads, which all of us can do this holiday season. We can all help save lives on our roads by planning ahead for a safe ride home if we're going to be going out. As part of that enforcement campaign, we do have our Taiwan on for Safety Challenge Cup. We actually have 5 different divisions. So agencies and troop offices compete based on their agency size. That is the number of officers that they have. And so we have 5 divisions for the division of 1 to 24 officers. The Colorado State Patrol Troop 4A out of Fruta, they made the most DUI arrests of any agency in their division. For the division with 25 to 74 officers, we actually had a 3-way tie amongst Colorado State Patrol troops. Troop 1D from Adams County, Troop 2B/E, Colorado Springs, and Troop 4C from Frisco all led the way in terms of DUI enforcement for agencies of their size. For agencies 75 to 299 officers, we had a tie as well with the Pueblo Police Department and the Loveland Police Department leading the way for agencies of their size for Taiwan on for Safety. For the division, agencies 300 to 499 officers, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office led the way in terms of DUI arrests. And last but certainly not least, for agencies with 500 or more officers, the Colorado Springs Police Department made the most DUI arrests of any agency, and actually for any agency for Taiwan on for Safety, regardless of size. We're so grateful for everyone, every officer, every agency, every troop office that participated in Taiwan on for Safety. We're grateful for the work that you do every day to save lives on our roads by stopping drunk and drug driving. We are so grateful for all that you are doing. Now I am very pleased to announce our total raised for today. This morning, or this luncheon, now that we are in the afternoon, we have raised $9,093 with our table captains and with donations that were made online. And I am very excited to announce our Mad Hatter. So we did have a friendly but fierce competition amongst our virtual table captains to see who could raise the most to win the Mad Hatter Award. And that means that they will win this very lovely Mad Hat to wear throughout the year to show that their incredible commitment and fundraising prowess as the Mad Hatter. And this year's winner is actually a repeating champion. Major Steve Garcia of the Colorado State Patrol is our 2020 Mad Hatter. Steve was actually our first Mad Hatter 3 years ago. So thank you so much, Major Garcia. Thank you for all that you do to keep roads safe and to support victims and survivors. And thank you for fundraising to make MAD's work happen. We're so grateful for you. Thank you. Thank you again to all of our table captains for getting the word out there. And for fundraising, it's a little different again, having a virtual table instead of an actual table for all of us to get together and eat. We appreciate you accepting the challenge and continuing to work hard to make sure that our mission continues. And right now, that work is really just so crucial. Unfortunately, this year, drunk and drug driving fatalities are actually up on our Colorado roads. You know, you would think with the stay-at-home orders and the restrictions and, bars and restaurants not being open as late or not being open for part of the year, you would think that our roads might be safer. Unfortunately, with, right now, with 1 month to go in the year, we've already surpassed our total for suspected drunk and drug driving fatalities on our roads. We've already passed that total. We have to do more to save lives, and we have to be ready to support victims and survivors from the crashes that have happened. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much for being a part of that mission by fundraising. I want to say again some thank yous on the way out here. Before we wrap up, I do want to thank Brittany Lamb again for sharing her story with us today. I want to say thank you to Clara Shelton, who provided our video and graphic design support. Thank you, Clara, and thank you, Brittany. Thank you to all of our presenters who joined us for our Community Heroes Awards. Thank you as well to our Community Heroes. Congratulations, and thank you for the work that you have done and you will be doing to save lives and support victims in our community. Thank you again to our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, the law firm of Backus and Schenker, Mad Colorado statewide sponsor, Walmart Neighborhood Market, and Credit Union of Colorado. We are so grateful for their support in helping to make these events happen. And I want to thank each of you for your attendance and for your support for MAD and your commitment to saving lives and supporting victims. Now, we do still have 2 opportunities coming up to be involved. Of course, you heard us talk about our silent auction and the great items that are available. That auction will go until 5 o'clock today. So please do get online and bid. It's a great way to help save lives and support victims by making a gift. At the same time, it's a way to do some creative holiday shopping as well. There's some tremendous items there, so please do check out our silent auction. Again, you can bid until 5 o'clock today, December 1st. And we have Colorado Gives Day coming up next week. That is December 8th. It's a Tuesday. We hope that you will join us by getting the word out about Colorado Gives Day. So on Colorado Gives Day, millions of Coloradans come together to support nonprofits in our community. It's a great way to give locally, and you can set up a pledge right now. You don't have to wait until December 8th, but you can set up a pledge at coloradogives.org/MAD. That's MADD. And please help us get the word out. You know, if you have friends who wanted to participate today, or maybe they wanted to make a donation to your virtual table, but they weren't able to, Colorado Gives Day is a great way that they can still be involved in saving lives and supporting victims this year. And we would be grateful and we would be honored for that support. So thank you. And last but not least, with the holidays, we want to encourage everyone, please be responsible, please be safe. We encourage you and everyone you know to plan ahead if you are going out and celebrating and those plans do include alcohol or cannabis. Please plan ahead to make sure that you can get home safe, and make that plan before you even leave your house. You know, you're going to be planning what you're going to be wearing, who you might be meeting, if you're bringing food. You make all sorts of plans. So please do plan ahead to make sure that you can get home safe, whether it's rideshare, Lyft, and Uber. Having a designated driver, someone who's not going to be drinking or consuming, who can get you home safe. Of course, public transportation is still an option. So we just want to ask again, please help us get the word out there. Let's end drunk and drug driving. We don't need anything fancy to make that happen. We just need everybody to start making the safe choice of planning ahead. And then, last but not least, again, just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for being a part of Taiwan On for Safety. Thank you for joining us and honoring our Community Honors Award winners. And thank you for your support for MAD, for your commitment to save lives and support victims and survivors right here in our Colorado communities. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day.